Great. This is Walk with the Doc, July 2018. Welcome back. Phillies are in first place. Can you imagine that?
I'm sure, yeah.
This is the beginning of our fourth year. As I understand, the medical or the marketing terminology is called, it's our third Walkiversity. How's that? Walkiversity. So congratulations to all of you. If you had attended every single walk since we started, you'd be over 50 miles so far. So anybody here that has come for every single one?
Wow, that is awesome.
Let's give her a good round of applause here. Excellent. We've had a few weather cancellations, but of course, you're over 50 miles, so congratulations on that too. Your first name is?
Loretta.
Loretta. Thanks, Loretta. Very good. Our special speaker for today is Dr. Marc Rabinowitz, internal medicine, family practice in our area. He's going to introduce himself. I think the interesting thing about Marc is that when he was a medical resident, he actually was a moonlighter here at Doylestown Hospital. So he was the guy that was covering the hospital at night for emergencies. Great moonlighting gig, he tells me too. So he does have a history with this as well. I'm going to give him the microphone. He'll give you a little introduction of himself and then talk about exercise.
Well, good morning, everybody. I wanted to thank everybody for coming out and participating in Walk with the Doc. Everybody here has made an investment in prolonging their health and ultimately the quality and not to mention the quantity of their life. A number of years ago, I got interested in I'm sorry?
A little bit.
Sure. A number of years ago, I got very interested in preventative medicine and started what in the vernacular would be called a concierge or preventative-based medicine practice. So I literally will spend hours with an individual patient going over, in addition to their medical problems, their lifestyle. How much are they walking? How much are they swimming? What are they eating? Are they smoking? And how do you alter those habits to create a healthier lifestyle? And one of the things every doctor will tell a patient, get more exercise. And the patient says, that's very nice. How much exercise? When do I exercise? And everybody's perception of exercise is different. And a doctor tells a patient, exercise is good for you and you'll live longer. And the patient will say, how? And I used to ask the same question, what is it exactly doing? So I just want to take a few minutes and try and explain the how and the why. Number one, exercise will prolong life. This has been studied, and I'm sure Dr. Kometsa will back this up. I have yet to read a study that doesn't show exercise will go on to prolong life. How does it do it? One of the major mechanisms is it helps the body reduce inflammation. And what inflammation does is it damages our arteries. It damages the lining of the arteries that carry blood to our heart and to our brain. So what happens? We don't make plaque. And if you don't make plaque, that leads to reductions in stroke and heart attack. One of the things that my apologies, I meant to bring a model of what 5 pounds of fat looks like, which is everybody walks in my office and they're sort of frightened. And I explained to them, I recently started doing some intermediate distance running with my wife, and I noticed my pants were falling off a bit. And I lost 4 or 5 pounds, and I did nothing differently other than I increased the amount of exercise that I was getting. And people look at me and say, well, where did you have that fat to lose from? But I actually did, and it's probably true for everybody. One of the other good things about exercise is it prevents certain cancers. Prevents prostate cancer in men, uterine cancer in women, and in one large group they looked at, it can reduce colon cancer by 27%. Once again, they think the mechanism is it's reducing inflammation. People with diabetes, your body and muscles need sugar. So whatever sugar is in the bloodstream that needs to be burned up is taken into the muscles and burned. There was something that came out in the news not that long ago about the amount of exercise, and you'll see varying things, 30 minutes a day, several times a week. And then there was something about weekend warriors. And it turns out that even in a weekend warrior, someone that will only exercise for maybe an hour on each day of the weekend will significantly live longer, have a healthier life, and be less troubled with disease. I was telling Dr. Comezzo, my stepdaughter was studying in London, so my wife and I went to visit. And now my wife does triathlons. I mean, there's swimming, running, and biking. And she said to me, well, do you want to participate in the 10-kilometer race in Regent's Park, which is where the London Zoo was on Easter morning at 9 o'clock? Well, you have nothing else to do on Easter morning at 9 o'clock. I'll go for it. And I realized, I better train for this properly. And I have a trainer I work with once a week. And we had a training program, and I followed this to the letter. And I come out on Easter morning, and it was about 38, 39 degrees. It was maybe a light drizzle, and I don't like to be cold. So I had on my ski underwear and my jacket and my hat and my gloves, and I'm ready for the weather. So I come there, and I began looking at the ages of the people that were running. The ages started at 95. There was a huge group of 80-year-olds, and I'm the only one that's not in the tank top and shorts out of the entire place. Now, I left my Eagles jersey at home. I said to my wife, do you think we should bring the Eagles jersey? But with the current state of political affairs in our country, I thought it was best that I remain somewhat anonymous. So, for obvious reasons. But I got there, and I ended up running in this race, and I actually did much better than I thought I would do. But let me tell you, it took me about 4.5 miles to catch up to the group of 80-year-olds. You should have seen the physiques on these men and women, and this is a London running club. And there were obviously lots of young people there too. But I then began reading, even more than I read now, on it's a book called Peak Performance. They're now tracking the athletic performance of 100-year-old people. There's now a category, 100 to 104. So you're never too old. You're never unable to do this. It will make you healthier. And you're right, you do feel better. You actually get, there's this endorphin rush where your brain, we release a chemical called serotonin, which makes us feel happy. Obviously there's the weight loss benefit, but it does make you feel good, and you will live longer. In treating depression, exercise is part of the prescription. That's standard. Any psychiatrist, any internist, a family doctor, anybody that sees an obstetrician who sees a patient primarily will really ask them to get onto a program. And I think the hardest part, I'm sure you encounter this, is what do you tell people to do? Well, walking, we all walk, and unless you're in a wheelchair, in which case you can still get exercise in a wheelchair. But you can go on the computer. There was an older book. It was called The New Aerobics, and it actually gives you how much you walk, how fast you walk, and how to increase the amount of exercise that you get. So it's programmed, and if you program it, and if you schedule it, and you have to schedule it, you absolutely have to put it on the calendar. We had this event today, and on your own, you need to several days a week say, this is my time. It has to be a priority. And if you make it a priority, your mood goes up. But you're absolutely right. It's the mechanism of the exercise will elevate the serotonin levels, and your mood will improve.
What are the precautions that I should take?
Number one, see the cardiologist. No, I'm kidding. No, well, as long as your physician feels that you're fit, just to make sure that you've had somebody listen to your heart, make sure there's no irregularities in your heart rate or your heartbeat or your valves, and your pressure's under good control. I would start it easy. You may want to start on a treadmill, and I'll be honest with you, I do a lot of my running on a treadmill. Unless I'm going to run real early in the morning or late in the day, it's hot. And you end up, my wife and I notice, you'll see people, you probably all notice this, they're running in the middle of the day. Well, what happens is your body's trying to get rid of excess heat, so it's diverting blood from your muscles to the periphery to try and cool yourself off. So I don't think it's as effective as it could be, and I don't find it comfortable. But I would go slow. I mean, I would just, maybe do a quarter mile or something like that, and just see how you feel on a treadmill where it's controlled.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rabinowitz.
Thank you.
Thank you.